paper cuts don't hurt like this. And I'm so nervous, I keep biting my lip. I've been checking my phone, but there's nobody there. 'Cause everyone knows that I can't even care unless I'm hearing back from you. If I'm better off without you, then why don't I feel any better? Sticks and stones can't break my bones, but then I can put them back together. Why do I even try when I won't change my mind? If I'm better off without you, then why don't I feel any better? Why don't I feel any better? Any better? Any better? Why don't any better? Any better? Why don't any better?
I was walking through the desert, searching for the truth. Left everything behind me, went looking out for you. Walking through the daylight and sleep under the moon. Watch every single sighting, a mirage that seems to move. You're 1,000 miles away, but if you come while I'm away, stay tonight, stay tonight. You're 1,000 miles away, but if you come while I'm away, stay tonight, stay tonight, yeah, stay tonight. If you come while I'm away, yeah, stay tonight, stay tonight, stay tonight. Went swimming in the ocean, don't know which one it was. I was diving to the bottom, searching for your love. I heard it was a treasure no one has ever seen. You hide inside a locket, buried in the sand beneath. You're 1,000 miles away, but if you come while I'm away, stay tonight, stay tonight. You're 1,000 miles away, but if you come while I'm away, stay tonight, stay tonight, yeah, stay tonight. If you come while I'm away, yeah, stay tonight, stay tonight, stay tonight.
Used to sit on the pier, watch the waves go by. Didn't care what they thought as the time passed by. Why'd we have to grow up, make mistakes, and I wonder why? I let you go on your own and I wonder why.
Sounds terrible today. Hello. How's everyone tonight? Well, my mic is like acting up today and I don't know why. It's driving me nuts. Oh well. I'll fix it later. Thanks tons of mice for subscribing. Tier 3. Yay. 2 months. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, Awoken One's here too. Hi, Awoken One. Can you guys hear me? I feel like I can't hear myself. Maybe my headphones just suck tonight. I don't know. Hello, friends. I didn't have time earlier today to get on and stream. You can hear me? That's good. Because, I don't know. I need to get new headphones. I think the headphones I have are just crap. Because I got them for like $20 at like Fred Meyer. Like, I'm a cheap mom. I have to like buy things I can afford. I can't buy the $120 headphones all the other streamers have. It's fine. Yeah, I didn't have time earlier today because I had to work, and then after work, make an Amazon wish list. I started one. I never finished it. I'll finish it at some point. But yeah, it's been a busy day, and I'm trying to work more because I ended up talking to my lawyer yesterday, and she basically said like there's not enough money in my situation for everyone. So yeah, she basically is like, you need to work more. So I worked at the school today, and then I went out and Ubered for the rest of the afternoon. So I'm just gonna have to start working my butt off more, but we'll see what happens. It's really hard to split into 2 households when you've been one household for a long time, because it costs a lot of money. But we'll figure it out. And I also, I set up my other site yesterday, but they haven't approved me yet, so I have to wait on that. But hopefully that gets started soon too, and that'll help me at least make a little bit extra money. I'll try my best here. I'm just gonna have like 10 jobs. Whatever works, right? I think right now I have like 4 different jobs that I do, but and that's like not including streaming stuff or my YouTube stuff. I don't get paid for any of my YouTube stuff except for like Patreon stuff, but most of my streaming stuff I don't get paid for. Like, this is hobby. This is like more of a hobby right now, because it's not like I'm not making. We try to help. You guys do awesome, and I like being on here. And, you know, this is a lot about community too for me, so it's not just like, it's not a big deal if I don't make money on here. It's just I need somewhere to like talk and have community, and YouTube and Twitch are great for that. So but yeah, so I'm gonna be trying to work more during the daytime because I don't like working in the dark. So when I get off work at 1, I just go and Uber and stuff until I can figure out something else. I do have another option that I'm trying to sign up more, because like I got like my I got certified to be like a loan signing person for, like, you know, when they like sell houses and you have to have a notary person do it. I went through the tests for like the notary and all that, and then I also went through the tests to like actually be able to be the one who like takes those documents to people and has them sign them. But you have to wait till somebody sends you, like, days and times that they have those, and I haven't gotten a lot of them, unfortunately, but I think once I can start doing that more, it'll be better, because that job pays between, like, 90 and 200 per signing. So I just have to get a couple under my belt so that I can get my name out there more and people can start hiring me for that. And I'm certified to do that for the next 4 years, so until I have to retake the test and all that. So that's some cheese. Yeah, that would be nice cheese if I can get some people to, like, email me. I've only gotten, like, 2, but the problem is every time I get them I have my kids and I'm like, I can't do it. Like, that is one thing they, like, say on the test. They're like, you cannot bring your kids and you cannot leave them in the car, and I'm like, well, duh. But I just thought that was funny because I'm like, do people do that? Like, that's a business transaction. I would never do that. That's so weird. But I guess some people have to be told those things, but we'll see. Hopefully I can get some of those under my belt. I keep, like, signing up on all the sites, because there's, like, sites all over the place that, like, give you those things. But there's also, like, billions, well, probably not billions, but there's hundreds of people just listed, and they have to find, you know, people in their area that can come and do the loan signing. So we'll see what happens. I just need to get a few under my belt to, like, get more involved in the community and hopefully start doing that more. But yeah. So right now I'm just, you know, I'm gonna have just different jobs everywhere because I gotta do what I gotta do. But, and full-time jobs are, it's difficult to have a full-time job because I'm gonna have my kiddos like 5 days a week, every other week, so that makes it difficult because I don't live, like, by any of my family, so childcare is a difficult thing right now. So I have to be able to actually, like, watch my children those 5 days a week because I can't. And that's why I got the school job, because it works around their schedule, and like, even the loan signing stuff and, like, Uber, like, those are all things I can work around, and cleaning the church. All these things that I have, most of them are, like, things I can do to work around my kids, because that's what I have to do right now, so. But tonight, I found another Bob Larson video about why psychics are demonic. So, single parenting is hard. Yeah, it's not something I ever thought I would have to do. And coming from, like, a home that had a single parent, well, it was only for 3 years, but still, like, 3 years of having a single mom, like, I get it, because I was, you know, the oldest in my family, and I basically had to step up and be the second parent in that household. It was hard. But we'll figure it out. It's just a new chapter in life. Yeah, I found a Bob Larson video that we're gonna watch tonight, and so why psychics are demonic. And we all love Bob Larson, right? I mean, I think he's a great person to just chill out with and watch, so. Oh my god. 2.5. Yeah, my kids aren't that young. My kids are school-aged, which makes it a little bit easier, because then I know, like, during the daytime, they're in school, which makes it easier to schedule things around them, because it's like, oh, if they're in school from this time to this time, I can schedule things if I'm not, you know, working or whatever, so. I'll make it all work. It'll be fine. Wow. Yeah, I met my boss's I don't know if it was her older son, but her son came in today to our work, and I guess he works in the warehouse for the school district, and so I got to meet him today. And he was like showing off he has a Mushu tattoo that he was showing off to everybody, so. And then he was talking about if he wanted to like get it colored in because he said like yellow is apparently the most difficult color to like put on human skin, and Mushu's yellow and red, so he said he might not get it filled in because he doesn't want to deal with that. But then he said one of his friends has one that's like black and white, so he was thinking about just doing black and white. Yeah, I thought it looked cool. It was definitely Mushu. It was pretty cool. I don't think I can ever get a tattoo because I hate needles. I couldn't sit there for that. I'd be screaming.
We're going to take a look at an important question in culture today. Why psychics are demonic? Are they demonic? Millions consult mediums and psychics.
I mean, I don't think demons exist, so I'm gonna go with no. But I also think a lot of psychics are frauds in the first place, and they just trick you to take your money, so.
Psychics to speak with the dead? What are the motives that drive people to consult the departed? Do such activities, called divination in the Bible, lead to a curse and even demonic possession? I'm going to explain clearly to you why psychics are demonic. When Alison DeBoy was 17, she heard a voice saying, "Move your bed." She did.
Move your bed. You think he dyes his hair? Oh, probably. It doesn't look natural. If that is his natural hair color, it's kind of, I don't know, it's weird. I don't see a lot of, like, older men with that type of color. And I feel like in his age, he'd have a lot more gray. I mean, I could be wrong. Some people might not go as gray as other people, but we'll see. I don't know. I doubt he would tell anyone if he did, though, because he doesn't want people to know that. So she's having someone she's hearing voices that are telling her to move her bed. Are these going to be demonic voices? Or are they going to be, is he going to say she's psychic because she heard a voice and she trusted the voice? This is the problem with Christianity, is that they can't distinguish what voice it is and where it comes from. Because they always talk about hearing voices, but they're like, oh no, you know it's the voice of God, or you know it's the voice of a demon, but it's like, there's no way to establish what the difference is because it's happening in your brain. And it's not something you, like, hear out loud. I mean, not all the time. There are people who have, like, auditory hallucinations where they hear it out loud. It's like when you're alone and you hear your name and it's like, what? I don't know if that happens to other people, but I've heard it happens to other people. I've definitely had it happen when I was a kid, like, or I thought somebody called my name and it wasn't. Nobody called it, so. I think your bed would look better over here, said the house flipper demon. Oh man, I need that demon to come help me flip the house on the island with the sex dungeon. I haven't finished that house yet. I need to finish it. I really want to, like, put stairs in to the basement, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do that.
That night, a truck driven by a drunk woman crashed through her bedroom wall right where the bed would have been. There were also...
Psychic or lucky? I'm going to go with just lucky. I think sometimes people just get lucky enough. Also, like, if I was going to bed, that would be the last thing on my mind. Like, even if I heard a voice telling me to move my bed, if I was tired, I'd be like, no, not gonna move my bed. It is interesting, though, because I think about, like, you know, they talk about, like, I think Bob's tripping. Yeah. It's quite possible this is a made-up story, too, because I feel like a lot of these, like, Christian stories are not quite 100% what they actually are saying happened, or, you know, they tend to exaggerate it. It's the whole, like, lying for Jesus thing, you know? They always talk about how people will, like, exaggerate things to make the story, like, better or more extravagant in a way that people would believe it, and it's not... It's okay to do because you're saving people's souls or whatever, but it's like, okay.
Other times that this woman heard a voice as a child, including her great-grandfather, who sat at the edge of her bed when she was just 6 years old. As an adult, this led to an interest in psychically solving crimes, and eventually, actor Kelsey Grammer, remember him of Frasier fame, asked her to do a TV show about her life. That project became the NBC series Medium. Best-selling books followed. Now Du Bois is launching what she calls Dead University, a school for the psychically...
It's really funny that he's making fun of someone. Like, I don't know if he actually believes these things or not, but it's just funny to me that if he does believe in demons and things, that he sits there and makes fun of someone who, like, basically uses their ability or whatever to make money off people when he does the exact same thing. The exact same thing. Like, he's supposedly given this gift from God, like, in order to get rid of demons and, you know, make people that are supposedly possessed, unpossessed, or whatever. But he's making, well, he's not making fun of her, but he's basically gonna say, like, she's a fraud or she's dabbling with demonic spirits or whatever. But she's doing the exact same thing he is, because he sells books and he has his own, like, seminar on how to be, like, someone who, like, an exorcist. He has seminars on that for people to become exorcists. So they're both peddling, you know, the things they believe for money. It's no different. And, I mean, in my opinion, this is all opinion. I'm not gonna get sued by Bob. Not like I have anything he would want, but... no, it's just... It's interesting when they call out people who do the exact same thing they do. But it's not okay for them to do it because, you know, Satan versus they can do it because God said it's okay. It's like, both of it is just manipulation and using people to make money off of something, whether you believe it or not.
Gifted. She teaches that when you're dead, you permanently revert to your happiest age. She declares that the afterlife is beautiful and vibrant, and that the heaven of loved ones isn't complete without us. Students of Dead University are taught to continually connect with the departed and include them in their daily lives. And all this is happening right next door to us, or so to speak, near our offices located in Scottsdale, Arizona. Think about it, deliverance and a psychic university in the same zip code.
Oh, that's crazy. No, it's really not. It's not crazy at all. You know how many psychics are around here? I'm just, like, thinking of all the psychic places that I see around my town. They're all over the place. Like, they're just, like, little houses all over my town, but there's still psychics around. I feel like the whole psychic thing was a huge thing in the 90s. Because I always remember, like, those commercials in the 90s that used to come on, and they're like, call this psychic right now, and they'll tell you blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if anybody else remembers those commercials from the 90s. I don't even know, like, when those commercials were on. They must have been on during the daytime. Maybe it was, like, when I was sick and had to stay home and, like, watched, like, Price is Right and stuff. I feel like it might have been on during that time. I don't know. But I remember there being, like, psychics that actually came on TV and, like, call our number and we'll tell you, you know, all these things you want to know about yourself. It's funny that that was kind of, like, a trend back then, because now that's kind of died out. Like, people still do... Oh, thank you for following, Theslia. People still go to psychics and things like that, but I feel like it's not as prevalent as it was back in the 90s. Or maybe I'm just completely oblivious to that whole, like, culture. I just don't realize that it's still, like, happening. But I even think about, like, Bob Barker and grunge and psychics. Welcome to the 90s. But I even think about, like, when I was a kid, like, I used to watch Big all the time. And that whole thing was, like, even though it was, like, a machine psychic, like, it was kind of the same concept where it was, like... But that was kind of more of a wish thing, I guess, but... Hello, eh? I don't know, it's just interesting to me that he would think that's funny, because it's... You could go to many different places and there's gonna be psychics. Like, it's not gonna be a big shocker. And I'm sure there's plenty of, like, deliverance pastors around. I mean, basically anyone can call themselves a deliverance pastor. And, you know, I grew up Pentecostal, so, like, Pentecostal pastors, they 100% will call themselves, like, maybe not, like, deliverance pastors, but they'll definitely, like, say they have the power of God to, like, get rid of demons and stuff, because that was a big thing when I was in the Pentecostal church, was, like, they had that power because they had the power of Christ in them. So, it's just, it's interesting to see that dynamic when it's like, this is something that's just prevalent in our culture. Like,
what are the reasons people want to talk to the dead? They may be overwhelmed with grief by the recent passing of a loved one and seek assurance that the departed are all right. They may feel they need to get advice from someone who helped them when they were alive, so they try to talk to that person who is dead. Others seek unknown information about the present or the future from the dead. They think the dead are on a higher spiritual plane with advanced...
I think people are just scared of death, and people who don't know what happens after... Well, I think nobody actually knows what happens after we die, but for me, I think death is the end, because I think you're your brain, and when your brain dies, you die. But for people who don't want to think about death, and they don't want to think about non-existence, I think some people will do anything to try to find an answer to what happens after you die, because people can't grasp the concept of death. They can't grasp the concept of, one day I am no longer going to exist, because oh, tons of mice gifted a tier 1 sub to Theslia. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. Awesome. I lost my train of thought. Oh, they can't grasp that death is the end. And some people, I think, just can't handle that idea. Like, it scares them to even think that there's going to be a time when they don't exist, because they're so used to existing, you know? Once you have life, I mean, before you had life, you didn't realize it, and then once you have life, it's hard to imagine that, you know, there's gonna be a time when you're not gonna have life anymore. But it's just like they say, like, it's the same as before you were born. Like, there are a ton of time on this earth where people didn't exist, and where other people did exist, and other animals existed, and you just think back, and all those people, you know, they lived their lives. They got to old age, or they died in war, or whatever, and they died. And it's just been, you know, all this time period that we weren't around. I wasn't around, like, when the Bible was written. I wasn't around when Jesus was alive. I wasn't around when, you know, the dinosaurs were alive. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of, like, different things that happened in history. But, I mean, there's always going to be a time when only certain people are alive and certain people aren't going to be alive, so. But I think that some people legitimately cannot handle the idea that one day they will cease to exist. Even though, you know, that's what we have been shown. We haven't been shown that there's anything supernatural. We haven't been shown that, you know, you have a soul or whatever else people, energy, or all these other things that people claim that you have that can go on after you're dead. There's just no evidence of that. And there's no way to sit there and tell someone that doesn't want to believe that they're not something more, and they want to believe that they're special and they're somehow going to keep living even after death. You weren't around when Challenger exploded. I was not, but I have seen it. There's a cat trying to scratch through the door. I was not around when Challenger exploded. I don't know. When did Challenger explode? It was in the 80s, right? I was around for 9/11, though. That was a day that I will definitely never forget. That was crazy. I was only 12 when that happened. 86. 2 years before I was born. Yeah, I wasn't born yet. Yeah, I was 12 when 9/11 happened, so I remember that day very, very clearly. So, I mean, I have lived through some tragedies. Even though I'm still, like, a youngin'. But yeah, it is hard. And it's weird. And it's scary to, like, think about death and things like that. I mean, I was not there on 9/11, but I can tell you that 9/11 affected me later down the road because my brother ended up going to Afghanistan with the military. So, like, that was scary because to think that he was in danger, and he went twice. He was in danger for like 3 or 4 years. And just thinking about that, and especially with all the other trauma from my childhood, like, I was like, I don't know what I would do if I would lose my brother, because, like, we were super close growing up, and, I mean, he's the only brother I got, so it's not something that I wanted to think about, but it was definitely on my mind a lot when he had to go over there and serve. And I hope he doesn't ever have to go back, because that's really scary. I think they're pulling everybody out of there now, but yeah. Things like that are definitely... Things affect you way more than you think sometimes. Of course, when I was 12, I did not think we would still be over there. long enough for my brother to go over there twice. But
Perspective.
politics, man.
This is what King Saul did when he sought help from the dead prophet Samuel by consulting a witch, a psychic. 1 Samuel 28:7 says, Then Saul said to his servants, Find me a woman who is a medium, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, In fact, there is a woman who is a medium at Endor.
The Witch of Endor. Did I do a video on that one? I thought I did. Pretty sure I did. Yeah, it was Ghosts in the Bible. It was really cool. I watched I just lost my train of thought. Oh, I watched Myth's Vision the other day, and he was talking about, he had a guy on there who wrote a book about, like, this is a little bit off topic, but it kind of goes with the whole ghost thing, is, like, he had a guy on there that had written a book about the resurrection of Jesus really just being a ghost story, and how it fits a lot of the same criteria that, like, other ghost stories of that time worked out. And it made a lot of sense when they were talking about it, but they were talking about, I can't remember the guy's name he had on there, but they were talking about how we in today's society do not understand the society that Jesus and his disciples, like, were a part of, because they were talking about how, like, people back then, like, legitimately believed in, like, magic in a way that, you know, today people would be like, that stuff doesn't exist. It was like Harry Potter. Like, they legitimately believed that, you know, there were demons and that there were, you know, magical things that you could do. And one of the big things they said was, like, the reason that, like, churches today say things in, like, in Jesus' name is because in those days they thought there was power within certain names, and that power came from, like, using that name. So using Jesus's name was almost like a spell. And I thought that was super interesting, because it just shows you, like, how different our society is from that society, and how they saw things so much differently than we did. Because, like, when people say in Jesus' name today, it doesn't have the same, you know, kind of power behind it that they're saying. It's more like, you know, we're praying in Jesus' name because he is God's son. But I just found it fascinating. And they were talking about in one of the verses how, like, the disciples told one of the guys in the Bible who was using Jesus' name to stop, because it was basically like a copyright infringement back then. Even though they didn't really have that kind of thing, it was more like, you can't just use someone's name and their power without, like, their permission. But I thought that was really interesting. If you guys haven't seen the Myth Vision stuff, it's so good. I highly recommend it for anyone who's in the atheist community. I think he does a really good job on getting a lot of people on there and really diving deep into some of those things. And I might have to get that book. It's called The Resurrection as a Ghost Story. It sounded interesting. And I love ghost stories. Like, I like horror movies and stuff like that, so I might have to get that book. Or see if there's, like, an Audible or something of it, because it sounded really interesting, and I thought it was a good thing. But everybody's got their own thing, you know.
Many of you know the story. That particular inquiry cost Saul his kingdom and his life. 1 Samuel 15:23 says, For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because you, speaking of King Saul, have rejected the word of the Lord, he has also rejected you from being king. That shows you the severity.
I thought Saul lost his kingdom because he didn't... Hold on. I thought originally he lost his kingdom because he didn't, kill everything in that town that they, like, went after. I think this is one of those Bible contradictions, too, because I think it says, like, 2 or 3 different reasons why Saul actually lost his kingdom. I need to do, like, a whole... Maybe I did talk about that in my video. I feel like I talked about it at one point where it says the different reasons that he lost his kingdom. Because I know that he was supposed to conquer, like, a certain town or city or something. And then he's like, kill everyone and everything in it. And he ended up, like, keeping the hole in his pocket. My brain just stopped working. Oh, he kept the king alive. And he kept, like, some of the, like, livestock alive, even though God said not to keep any of it alive. So that's one story about how he lost his kingdom. And now it's saying he lost his kingdom because of going to the Witch of Endor. I feel like there was another story, too, that talks about why he lost his kingdom, but... And it's quite possible because I know a lot of, like, the Old Testament stuff, like, there were different writers, obviously, for different things, and a lot of these, like, a lot of the books were kind of, like, smashed together at some point, because I know some of the books had stuff in it from, like, different groups of people that they said were writing it, because there were, like, 4 different groups that believed, like, different things, and they all ended up contributing to the Bible eventually. And I know one was the Elohim one, and there were Elohim, Yahwehs. There's 4 different groups. I need to find that video again where it talks about the 4 different groups and how, you know, they all had different ideas of, like, who God was. And how, you know, some of them actually believed that there were a whole council of gods, and then some of them were polytheistic, and then eventually it got turned into, like, monotheism, where they had El in the beginning, and Yahweh, and Asherah. And then over time, like, El and Yahweh ended up, like, getting smushed together into one god, instead of having a whole council of gods. I find that stuff fascinating. I love learning about that stuff. And just the different ideas they had, and how they tried to... You can see in the Bible how they tried to erase some of the polytheism, but they're still, like they said in, like, Genesis, the first verse in Genesis was talking about, or one of the first verses in Genesis is, like, we made them in our image, where it was, like, multiples, because originally the Bible was written when they were polytheists, versus later down the road when they turned into monotheists. And I have to look back on that whole idea. I remember, I think monotheism came more later when one of the kings said that he found, like, the lost book of the Bible in, I don't know if it was in the temple or in hiding somewhere. That whole story is so suspicious, because it's like, let's think about this. Elohimists, Yahwehists, Kardashians, and Pokemon. Oh, goodness. No, it's weird, because when I think about that story, it just seems so like what a con person would do. Like, if they wanted to completely change the way people worshipped and followed God, how easy would it be to literally write an entire, like, book of the Bible and pretend it was lost somewhere in the temple, and then it magically appears one day and it just happens to say everything is the opposite of what all the other books and things God said before. Like, it just amazes me how gullible people are sometimes. Because you think back then, like, of course that makes sense. The temple and the people in charge and the kings and stuff, that's where most of the people got their information from, because a lot of them were illiterate and they were just part of the tribe and they were just trying to, survive and live their lives. But it's just funny to me that people today will read the Bible and go, oh, that's amazing. Like, that man found it. Like, God made sure that that stuff wasn't lost. And I'm just like, how do you know he didn't put it there in the first place? How do you know he's not the one who just completely changed everything because he wanted everything his way? So he just rewrote everything and then was like, oh, I found it in the temple one day. It's just interesting how your perspective can completely change when you're not so absorbed in that culture and your mind is on this one track. Because I know when I had God glasses on, I would have never thought that. And I get that. It'd be like, oh yeah, this was God's will. But now I'm just like, that is something a con person would do. Or someone who wants, things his way totally would just make up whatever he wanted and then pretend he found it. I don't know. I guess for me, that's how I see it now. But it's crazy just how much, like, that whole thing can change. And honestly, having the God glasses on really does distort your view from what is actually happening from any of that. Because I definitely didn't see any of the problems with the Bible when I was in it. And I did not understand that a lot of the things people use to, like, back up the Bible were just excuses because I hadn't looked into it before. And it's funny to me now because I'm like, oh, there's, like, none of these things have, like, good backings or good, evidence or anything to actually show that they're true. They're just excuses made in the name of God in order to make it seem like everything that they've been taught is true.
Of seeking out psychics. There are some other reasons that people seek psychics. Those who have malevolent, evil intent may think that beings in another spiritual realm will help them to get even, to get revenge with somebody. That's a form of black magic that operates at the very highest level.
Can I get, like, some sort of spirit or demon to come, like, clean my house? Because I would love that. Like, just hires. I'm gonna go to work. When I get home, my house will be clean because I have a cleaning demon.
Still, some go to mediums because they follow a religious philosophy that teaches communication with so-called ascended masters. There are groups like the so-called I Am cult and the Great White Brotherhood. They consult with beings who have gone on to the after.
I mailed you a clown. What does it do all day? Sit in my office. She just hangs out in my office now. Unless my kids find her. Then she ends up around the house because they think it's funny to, like, play with her.
Afterlife, and they think have a more perfected existence. They are then supposedly able to help the less involved beings left behind here on Earth. In the Bible, There's the story of the rich man suffering in hell that Jesus told. This man asked to go back and warn his other family members who were still alive.
Yay for the kids. I don't know if other people have pointed out the fact that this story is a parable. I don't know what the parable really is about, though, because, you know, this is where Christians get their idea of hell. But this whole story is definitely a parable, so it's like, what was he actually trying to say in the parable? Because, you know, in the church they always told us that Jesus was the secret Messiah. Basically, Jesus didn't want anyone to know he was the Messiah except the people who truly understood that he was the Messiah. So there's like this secret knowledge, basically. This is what I was told in church. I don't know what other people have been told in church, but when I was in church, they told us, like, there's a secret knowledge that only Christians understand, because they understand what Jesus was trying to say, even in these parables. But then they'll take a parable like this, which is not supposed to be literal, like it's supposed to be a parable to teach you something, but they make it literal in order to make hell a reality. Which always, I don't know, I need to study more about this, because there's also the whole idea that, like, it talks about Lazarus being in hell, where it was also talking about how, you know, in John, Jesus, like, final thing before he died was raising Lazarus from the dead, and how Lazarus was his friend. And so I know people have tried to make the connection of, like, if they just use the same, like, name in order to create, you know, these stories. But yeah, I don't know. I need to look more into, like, the whole parable thing, because parables weren't supposed to be taken literally. They were supposed to be, you know, like a story that has a moral, or, you know, a lesson to learn at the end. But I don't think I've read into it enough to actually know what he's talking about. I think Lazarus served me dinner in hell. I had the lamb. Nice. Nice, nice. I've never had lamb before, so I don't know if it's any good. I like beef and chicken. I'm very American. I need to stop eating so much beef, though. It's not good for me.
Through this parable, Jesus taught that there was a great chasm, a gulf, an impassable gulf between the living and the dead, and that neither can pass over to the other. That's found in Luke chapter 16. In other words, seeing and talking to the dead is really a farce, a sham. It's a scam. According to the Bible, in Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, beginning of verse 9, these kinds of actions are known as divination. They're forms of witchcraft forbidden by the Lord. And why? Because they replace trust in God and His Word with unverifiable messages from the dead.
I mean, witchcraft and divination are very, like, you can do divination without being a witch. Like, it's always interesting to me that Christians latch on to that. If anything is not what they believe, it's automatically, like, satanic or witchcraft, because they believe witchcraft is satanic, which, when I was in church, I definitely believed that, because that's what I was told. But now that I have, like, friends who are in the community that, like, actually practice witchcraft, like, I can say, like, that's not what they believe. Like, I've talked to some people, and, like, I know people now, and I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say I believe that stuff. I don't believe that stuff, but I think saying that it's satanic when it has nothing to do with Satan is a horrible thing to do. But then again, Christians, you know, everything's black and white for Christians. It has nothing to do with, like, truth. It's very much like, you're either for us or against us, and if you're against us, then you're in the satanic category, and if you're with us, then you're in the God category. There's no middle ground where it's like, oh, well, I just don't believe in any of those things. So, but even just being an atheist and saying I don't believe in those things automatically puts me in the satanic category, even though I don't even believe in Satan either, so.
Messages that are often directly in contradiction to Scripture.
Be an exorcist.
As mentioned earlier in the teachings of Dead University. In short, if you could consult a psychic for information about how life is to be lived, why would you need the Bible? Why would you need God as a source of supernatural information if what the psychic says is true?
I mean, that's a good point, Bob. Why do we need God? Like, if people have these magic powers to, like, tell us things about... I don't need the Bible. Yeah, me neither. But I'm just saying, like, Bob makes an excellent point. There's no reason for us to have the Bible or God if there's, like, these people who can tell us things that we want to know. Like... He makes a good point. I'm sure he's going to tell us why we need it now, though.
Isaiah 8:19 says this. When someone tells you to consult mediums and spiritists who whisper and mutter, should not a people inquire of their God? Why consult the dead on behalf of the living? So, if you're ever in the Phoenix, Arizona area, you have a choice. You can sign up for Dead University and risk eternal damnation in hell, or you can enroll in the International School of Exorcism and learn how to...
I mean, I think I'll take neither, because I feel like they're both just scams trying to get me to pay money that I don't have in the first place to cure me of something that I don't have because it doesn't exist. Like, in my opinion, that is what I think.
set people free from the deceiving demons of psychics.
Deceiving?
Your financial support and prayers make it possible for us to bring hope for the hurting and freedom to those in spiritual bondage.
Yeah, no. I'm not giving that man any money. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Well, that was Bob talking about psychics. That man. I just don't know where people get the idea that it's okay to, like, push what they believe. Like, he's gonna push and push and push that the Bible is true, and that what he believes is true, and that what he is selling you is true. But then he'll sit there and criticize a psychic for doing the exact same thing that he's doing, when they're both doing the same thing. There's no difference. It's like that meme where it's like, look at these two pictures, and it's like, oh, they're the same picture. It's the same picture. If you put a picture of Bob Larson next to a psychic, like, it's the same picture, in my opinion. There's nothing there. They're selling you, they're basically selling you, well, it's like in the Lorax where they sell you air. You need air to live. But, you know, some people will, you know, go as far as to pay for it, even though it's something you can get for free. The psychic will admit she dyes her hair. Oh, yeah. Of course she will. Because at least then you know she's trustworthy. She's not scamming you. She tells you she dyes her hair. Oh, Bob. He's an interesting fellow. I have to wonder how many, like, people actually take his, exorcist school or seminars or whatever to become an exorcist. Because I don't see anybody else, like, I see a rinse in your future. I don't see a lot of, like, other exorcists going around talking about doing these kind of things. And you have to wonder how many people buy into his whole, you know, seminar and wanting people to... I need to ask Omega, because he actually went to one of his seminars back in the day. So I'm sure he knows. He might know a lot more about if, like, more people actually go to those kind of things, but... It's just crazy the amount of time people will put into things like that. Like, you are literally wasting your time on things that don't exist. But, I mean, people probably say the same thing about me watching movies, but okay. At least for a movie, I get entertainment with it. Like, I'm not wasting money to have a guy yell in my face and tell me I'm a Jezebel. The spirit of Jezebel is in me. Oh no. Yeah. That's all I had for tonight. Thanks for joining me. I think the only one here right now is Tons of Mice. We had some people come though. Awoken was on here earlier, but I see he left too. I mean, it is getting late. I'm on the West Coast, so I think a lot of people are probably sleeping right now. But I have to get on later now because I have day jobs. But that's okay. Oh, Reggie's been here. I didn't even see you. Hi, Reggie. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I'm watching some Bob, hanging out, talking about psychics. Yeah. I don't know if we'll be back on tomorrow. We will see. I'll probably be on Friday and... yeah. I don't have... This weekend I don't have my children, so I'll have a lot more time this weekend. Oh, and I get to be on a Christian live stream on Sunday, so that's gonna be fun. I don't know when it's, like, where it is and where it's on, but if I figure it out, I'll let people know. Because we're gonna talk about my deconversion story, and, basically, like, it's a friend of, I don't know if you guys know Jake the Atheist. We did our, like, 1 year anniversary on YouTube together, because we both started on the same day last year, but he's a friend of Jake the Atheist, and, he emailed me and was like, hey, do you want to, like, come on my live stream and, like, talk about your deconversion story? So I'm going to go on there and talk about my deconversion story, and then he also has another friend who is questioning Christianity right now, and he asked if that friend... Bleh, bleh. There's a clip for you, Tons. He asked if his friend who's questioning Christianity could also come on so he can, like, hear my reasons for leaving the faith and just, you know, kind of see the difference, because, you know, the guy who asked me on is Christian, but then he has a friend who's questioning, so it'll be an atheist, a questioning Christian, and an actual, like, Christian. So if I get details on where that live stream's at, definitely let you guys know, because having people around to watch my stuff would be great. And he said it's just going to be casual conversation, and yeah, Jake said he's a good guy, so I'm not going to go on any Christian places that are just going to gang up on me. I mean, I watched that whole, I don't know if you guys watched the Pine Creek one where he was basically, like, thrown into a room of Christians, and oh my god, I felt so bad for him. Because there was just no way out of it. Like, they had definitely already planned to just gang up on him, and it was not, you know, a conversation that was gonna get anywhere. It was very much them trying to just show how wrong they think he was and not actually discuss the issues. I think he handled it pretty well. Like, I would have just ran because I don't want to fight with people, and I don't know everything, and that's for sure, but, and if I got thrown into the lion's den like he did, I don't think I could do that. I very much value conversation over, you know, people just fighting or ganging up on you, so. Plus, that kind of thing just doesn't work in general, because even, like, opposing ideas, like, having a conversation, you can see things from both perspectives, but if you're just going in there and their whole plan is to gang up on you, like, it's not gonna get anywhere, and it doesn't help anyone. Like, sounds like fun. Not for me. I don't think it's helpful, because it's just people bashing other people for what they believe, and I don't think that gets people to change their minds or even, like, look into those kind of evidence and things that can change minds. It was very much just, you know, let's tell the atheist he's dumb for not believing in our Bible and not believing that Jesus is the Messiah and that God isn't a genie. Like, he's not gonna just magically make the atheist see his power or whatever, but I don't know. I felt bad for him, but he took it like a champ. So, good for you, Pine Creek. Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to tell you guys, in case any of you are on Sunday and want to do that, it's at 4 o'clock, and I'll get a link to the guy's YouTube channel if you guys want to come on and watch and cheer me on in the comments. I think that's all I have for now. I am working on a YouTube video. I've just been super busy. Like, I wrote out my script, I just haven't, like, done anything else, so. If God was a genie, what kind of bottle would he live in? I don't know. I like Genie's, like, bottle from I Dream of Jeannie. But I don't feel like that would be the kind of bottle that God would live in. I mean, if you're thinking of, like, the Bible God, he's a war god, so you'd have to think of, like, some sort of Jack Daniels. I was gonna say some sort of, like, war god type of drink. I don't drink enough to, like, know different bottles. I mean, I know Jack Daniels, obviously. There's certain things that I know, but I'm not a drinker. The only thing I drink is, like, Mike's Hard Lemonade. I'm not a fan of alcohol. Unless it's fruity. Alrighty. I think I'm gonna get off here because I got chores to do, and then I have to go to bed because I have to go to work in the morning. Yay! More hours, though. That's good. I'm getting more hours because they keep having to move people around because they don't have enough staff right now, so. But getting 4 hours as opposed to getting 2 hours, I'm making double my money now, so. Honestly, I'm fine with that because I need to do that right now. I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Hopefully I will see you tomorrow. If I don't see you guys tomorrow or Thursday this weekend, I will definitely try to stream some more because I don't have my kids this weekend, so we will do some extra streaming on the weekends. Yay! Okay. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.